Hey friends, welcome back to the AI Empowered series. This is the complete guide to AI in your personal and professional lives. Today we're going to be talking about the other capabilities that AI is emerging in, not just in text. AI is an incredibly powerful tool, and what we generally talk about is generative AI. So it's generating content for us. We've primarily talked about text, but there's all of these emerging ways which AI is generating content. And that's through things like images, through voice, through video, and through code. So I want to cover these areas because they're really important in the way that we understand AI capability. So a lot of the fundamental aspects we've developed up until this point for this series apply to these other mediums. So I urge you to reflect on some of these best practices as you're approaching AI in these different ways. I just don't want you to have that narrow view of AI that it's just about generating text with natural language. It can really be so much more. So that's what this module is really about. By the end of this video, you're going to be able to master multimedia AI, and a framework that I'll provide to you will integrate AI into all modalities that you work with in professional and personal use cases, and it'll dramatically expand what AI can do in your life. It's really important to identify, like we discussed, where AI can integrate. And so you may not need some of these things, but if you do, AI can really make a big impact. Most people do things in isolation, and they miss the things that they don't know because they don't explore different ways of doing things and different tools and capabilities that exist. So you're missing out on a lot of value if you just narrow your approach to just, a chat bot. It can be a lot more. With text and image and voice and video and code, really expands your horizons on applying these AI foundational knowledge and skills so that it can really improve a lot of different areas you didn't even know you could be impactful with. Like for me, I'm not a engineer, but I have, coded full applications, full websites just by applying the techniques that I've developed by working with AI so that I learn really quickly. I learn best practices about what it is that I'm doing. I start to synthesize a dynamic set of skills that I've built over my life into this AI interaction so that I can produce quite a good result, even though I'm not an expert in that field. So it really can unlock your capabilities and turn your ideas into something real very quickly, faster than you've ever been able to do before with any other technology. So I think once you feel the power that you have when you start to connect AI to images and text and video and all these things, that you can create so much more comprehensive content. So let's talk about how to do that in a high quality way, in a responsible and safe way, and a way that really aligns to, who you are, your personal brand, and even your business. So come along, and we're going to talk about this sort of multimedia framework that I've developed. So this is how you can approach a multimedia AI integration. And it starts with another acronym. So multimedia is the acronym we'll be working with. So first you want to map and identify tasks that could benefit from expanded AI capabilities and mediums. You want to understand and learn the strengths and optimal applications of each AI type. You want to link and create workflows that connect the different tools effectively. You want to test. So it's really important to understand, if it can achieve the sort of results that you want. And then if it does, you want to integrate. So you want to build standard operating procedures that embed, these multimedia applications where they need to be. And then you want to measure, so track what AI is producing and if it can be consistent and achieve those results. And then you want to expand. So start to expand what you're using and what you're capable of. And then start to develop your own way of doing things and recording what it is that you're doing so that you can replicate it. You want to innovate. So really start to get creative about how you're using AI. Work across departments to brainstorm novel ways of connecting its capabilities so that you're creating something fresh and exciting. And then finally, you really want to advance. You want to drive that growth in your organization or just in your personal brand by doing these things in that sophisticated manner, taking that fresh approach and applying it so that you're radiating it to everybody and driving that real impact. You don't want to just do this stuff as an experiment. You want to put that effort in so that you can really see those results come to fruition. I hope this helps you track how you're expanding your capabilities with AI into different mediums. Next, we're going to talk about the foundation layer. It really does start with this text mastery because AI as a large language model works off of natural language. So having the foundations that we've built of text use with AI is really key because everything that AI processes is from text and turns that text into tokens, which then can be made into more text or these other mediums. So understanding how AI processes text can help you understand how you can work with AI in all these different ways. So these key points is that use text AI to plan and coordinate, multimodal projects and understand what AI needs from you in order to get the best results you can. So think about content coordination. So generate scripts or visual descriptions or, a code architecture plan so that the AI that is creating the thing that you want has the best practice input that it needs to create the thing that you're creating. If you think about it in this way, for an image, you don't want to just give it a story that is just all internal in somebody's mind. You want to give it visual descriptions. So think about what, an image generator needs and provide it what visual descriptions. Same thing with code. So you need to understand what it is that a software engineer does, where they start in their process, how they build the foundations of a project, and then the important considerations that AI needs to effectively execute that vision. It's different for code than it is for an image. So think about what AI needs and then give it that and use AI to help give it that. And then have a framework to analyze the quality and where you can improve things along the way with that continuous improvement approach. And then similarly, that quality control, make sure you're not putting anything out that isn't, high quality or is open to liability. One of the most difficult things with this is you don't know what you don't know. And you may be doing something where you don't have domain knowledge, like coding a program. And there's some important considerations for security and safety that you need to take into account when putting something out into the world. If you don't know them, you can find yourself in a situation where you're in trouble. Maybe a hacker has gained access to the back end of your program or sensitive information because you didn't know to implement a certain security practice because you're not, a software engineer. So really make sure you take a comprehensive approach to understanding the best practice before you jump into generating things with AI. It's going to go a long way in protecting you. I wanted to jump into some of these mediums specifically and talk about how to best use these things to get the best outputs possible. Because we've kind of been speaking in a general term, but I want to go into each specific medium that exists today so we can develop a comprehensive suite of tools. Image generation in AI has gotten really quite advanced. It used to be just sort of generic artificial looking images, but now they're becoming almost indistinguishable from reality. They're really powerful and you have to use them responsibly as well. So they enable that visual element in your workflow by creating assets and images, such as graphics, diagrams, presentations, marketing material. It can also analyze images, so it can extract insights from different charts and pictures and marketing materials so that you understand what's working and what's not and what to optimize in, these different areas. And then it really can help with your visual communication. I think visuals are a really powerful way to convey information quickly and effectively. People say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, use AI to create those pictures that are really impactful for your business. So there's a few ways you can do things. You can do text to image workflows where you're just creating an all new image from text that you're providing. You can also do image to image workflows. You can provide it an image and start to tweak some of the aspects of that image. You can do, different types of taking an image and replacing some parts or editing some parts. Or, there's a whole world of AI image editing with very sophisticated tools that you can use to dial in exactly what you're looking for. And look, we're not going to go into all the details today, but if AI imagery is something that interests you, take a dive into some of these tools and see what you can do. A lot of these off-the-shelf LLMs have AI generation capabilities, but for more professional uses, there's dedicated tools that you can look at. So for voice capabilities, there's a really emerging area where AI is actually able to speak with you. And it opens up a whole horizon of possibilities, for AI interaction, but also for serving your customers and providing new features within your products. That's really exciting. So voice AI really enables natural conversation, audio content creation, and accessibility improvements that can really expand your audience. So think about, these key points of like natural conversation. Engage with AI through speech and not just writing through a keyboard. It can really unlock your ability to communicate with AI when you don't have to do everything by typing. You can, in this audio content creation aspect, really start to create things that can effectively communicate in different ways than just reading off of a page. You can create podcasts and audiobooks and all these other different ways we can use language to better communicate. It's a really exciting area for accessibility as well, because for people who maybe can't understand a PhD level report, or maybe are blind and can't read, text on a page and need it to be translated in some other way, you can start to unlock whole new areas of a market through these accessibility features that make the things you're producing a lot more accessible, reachable, understandable, and communicate what it is you're doing. And then, of course, you can use it to transcribe text and synthesize that into other AI applications. Think of this as when you record a meeting and you get the AI transcription, that's all being processed through an AI transcription feature, and then you can get summaries. You can work with that text in different ways. It can be a really powerful tool in AI workflows that you're incorporating into your life and your business. Again, we won't go into all the tools, but there's some really scary and interesting things happening with AI voice where you can clone your voice, you can clone other people's voices, you can create whole interactions with different personas acting in different voices. I think it's important to address that deepfakes are a term used to misrepresent somebody through AI voice or video or images. So use these things responsibly, only with other people's permission, and be careful about your own identity. I want to talk about video a little bit. Video is an extremely powerful way to communicate. A picture says 1,000 words, a video says 1,000,000. You can really bring somebody somewhere, expand their worldview, really transport them to where you want them to be. And that's a powerful thing when thinking about business applications. So explore these different tools and understand, yeah, their limitations, but also that your biggest limitation is your imagination. And then for coding, the space is rapidly emerging, but you're starting to really be able to take your ideas about what it is you want to create as some sort of software application and turn that into a reality very quickly. And I urge you to take a systematic approach when you're sort of entering this vibe coding, as they call it, or AI enhanced coding, and really understand what the fundamentals are that are needed to create what you're going to create and move from that planning to architecture to sort of optimizing the structure and then executing in steps if you're going to go into that sort of area. I think you'll find that if you build that foundation, just like with anything, you're going to be able to get to where you want to go a lot faster. We've talked a lot about the different mediums in which AI can integrate into at the moment, and I'm sure there will be more, as we develop. VR is one that I haven't really discussed on, but imagine creating entire new worlds just by talking to an AI and having that represented in real time in your eyes as sort of an alternative reality. Kind of mind-blowing where this stuff can go, and I'm sure that's not even the limit. So think about dreaming big with these different applications of AI and cultivating that creativity within yourself so that you can stay ahead of others and do things in a new and fresh way. So that's really what I want to talk about next, building that integrated multimedia approach into your workflows if it's appropriate. The real power emerges when you start to connect all of these things together. Imagine creating a website by vibe coding and then creating videos and images to sort of align with what it is that you're building, and then using traditional AI text to sort of really build out your vision very quickly into something that exists in the world and can serve you and your company. You can do this really rapidly, and I urge you to think about this at the beginning as a rapid prototyping tool. So you can have an idea, and then very quickly you can have a proof of concept, get 80% of the way there with an approach that you're thinking about, and you learn very quickly in that process. And then maybe you can take it further if you think that it's worth your time, or move on to a different approach and try again. But I think it's important to think about sequential integration. So start small and grow into better and bigger capabilities. Do some of these parallel processings that we've discussed. Have your normal approach and then have AI run alongside it and see where AI is actually making a difference so that you can lean into that. And then always, I'm going to mention iterative refinement, continuously learn and integrate those learnings into these workflows. Everything is a cycle. So integrate your workflow to feed back into that beginning. And then you want to really cross-validate these multimedia approaches. It can be exciting to have a new capability that you maybe not traditionally been trained on or is not in your domain and have access to doing that thing. But I think you have to be really careful about entering into a space with so much that you don't know because you haven't been classically trained on it. And that's one of my biggest fears with AI is that people think, oh, AI can do this. I'm just going to do it and I'm going to expect expert results. Or even scarier from a company's perspective to say, oh, AI can interface with all of our customers and we can fire our entire customer service department and just have AI talk to all of our customers. But to not really understand that AI has its strong limits and making a rash decision like that may come back to bite you. I think it's a healthier perspective to enhance your capabilities and consult with experts and sort of integrate AI into these different areas with a really strong foundation than to just rush towards a solution that maybe isn't fully baked and put it into production and then have to face those consequences. When you start to connect these things, they get really powerful, but really form a process to understanding what is best practice in these different areas so that you're not getting yourself into trouble. Finally, I want to talk about some advanced techniques with this sort of multimedia approach to AI. And so I see in some of our clients that are using this stuff really effectively, a really sophisticated multimedia integration techniques that can really get their quality to that level that really fits within their brand. And this is cross multimedia prompting. So aligning these prompts across their prompt database, context database, sort of these evaluation databases that we've discussed, and making sure these other multimedia approaches align with those things, and that information feeds into the new, capabilities that they have. Those feedback loops are really key. Build systems where the learnings that you capture from that process go back into the initial process and actually learn from it. But keep these templates in place that can be reached by everybody and to scale out in the organization so that you have multiple minds working on how to do things in the best way. And that adds coverage on that multi-domain expertise aspect where people can tell you what you don't know and really enhance that capability. The diversity of thought is really key in covering those blind spots. So make sure to give the opportunity for that in your organization. And then think about how you can really orchestrate all of these different capabilities so that they can creatively connect across the organization and allow fresh approaches to serving your customers or enhancing your personal brand or creating a fun project for your kids or something along that line. So some of these advanced integration examples are like market research projects. So text AI analyzes data and market research, and then an image AI can understand what's working across the business and start to give you like key insights that you can apply into your brand to increase, your marketing. And voice AI can really start to build out the accessibility of their findings so that you can talk to the AI and have a conversation with basically the learnings that you've created and get, a really interesting report out of that is accessible to all. For training development within your organization, you can have the comprehensive program that's created from your text and your standard operating processes that are represented in images and videos and voice. Client proposal systems, you can meet your customers extremely quickly with a lot of multimedia content that serves their exact need. It can be a really powerful way to capture leads. And then for content marketing campaigns, of course, you can add all of these different layers into creating content that represents your brand in a meaningful way. So I hope that these advanced multimedia approaches have expanded your view of what AI can do. And I really want to stress the point that the foundations that we've built with the text AI in the first 9 modules, it really applies across all of these different medias here. And it'll continue to apply as AI evolves. So I hope that you learned something. I have a description in the bio that has links to more about myself and the books that I've written on these subjects so that you can apply these directly into your life and in your profession. Join my community and follow along for the rest of this practical information on AI. I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.